Welcome to our latest adventure. Today we explore Eden, the 8-man raid series from Shadowbringers.
I am darkness. I destroy the light and bring the dark. I am super edgy and cool.
Maybe some time away from home wasn't the best idea for you.
Cat, what are you wearing? We're warriors of darkness. You need to be more edgy.
I'll keep the etherical balance for us. Can't have too much darkness at one time.
Speaking of Aether, didn't Reen want to meet us about something related to that?
Oh yeah, I think we're supposed to meet her over in the Crystarium. Let's head out, warrior of darkness.
Once upon a time, in the Crystarium, we meet with Reen and she tells us of a disturbance in the Aether, a strange concentration of light somewhere to the south. She believes it to originate in the empty, lands once swallowed by the flood. These corrupted lands stretch 9/10 of this world and are incapable of supporting life. This could be the presence of another Light Warden, and as the Shadowbringer, it's our responsibility to smite it. Reen takes us to Amarang to meet up with Thancred and Urianger.
After meeting up with our friends, we plan our journey into the wastelands of the empty. We'll be relying on Reen's aether sensing abilities to get in and out of the area before exposing the party for too long. Enough time in the empty and our friends would surely become sin eaters. With that in mind, we've opted for a more mechanical mode of transportation, a sky slipper. Apparently the vehicle was found in the Crystal Tower and has since been restored to working order. Dad Thancred drives us out into the empty as Reen helps navigate towards the aether source. Are we there yet?
After a quick nap in the back seat, we awake to find our target. There over the cliff is the source of the disturbance, a large, sleeping... what is it? Reen doesn't seem to think it's a sin eater. It doesn't fill itself with light. She says this creature is light. Urianger believes it's the original sin eater, the one that began the flood and whom Minfilia vanquished a century ago. A foe of great power and the origin of our struggle on the first deserves a fitting name. Eden. Utopia in Fae. It's clear that we must put an end to Eden before it wakes and recreates the flood. Let's set up camp and devise a plan.
After the tents have been put up and Thancred returns from his scouting mission, we get to business. Reen makes a point to suggest we move fast on this one, before Eden fully awakes. She believes that the light enacted from the flood embodies umbral properties, that is to say, that it halts the flow of aether, causing life to cease over time. Perhaps with the defeat of Eden, we could bring the aether to flow once more. Urianger surmises that Minfilia must have found a way to silence Eden, but not defeat it. As Minfilia's successor, Reen may still possess a means to exert her will over Eden.
The way to defeat Eden is most likely by destroying it from the core, where the most aether is concentrated. By employing Aethernet shards as beacons, we could trace the ethereal flow to Eden's core, and in doing so, secure a means to teleport to the very heart of the beast. Urianger can fashion a means by which Reen can communicate with Eden, hopefully allowing us to drop its defenses. And perhaps most important of all, if any baddies come our way, the warriors of darkness can put them down. We teleport into the core of Eden only to set off an alarm. We're greeted by what appears to be a version of Eden itself. After a battle and a cutscene that lasts for ages, we emerge victorious. Taking the teleport back to camp, we let our friends know that it's safe to enter.
Now inside the core, Reen communicates with Eden, although it's clear that Eden wishes not to be bothered as everything around us begins to shake. Eden rises up from the land and takes to the air. As it does, Reen gains control of Eden. However, she is unsure yet how to give it commands. Suddenly, an alarm goes off. We have an airborne intruder, and even some within Eden already. Urianger and Thancred will deal with those inside, while we head topside to deal with our uninvited guest. Reen teleports us atop Eden and creates a platform by which we can fight. Our guest arrives, carried by a winged sin eater. Or perhaps our foe is holding this knight hostage. It's hard to tell, but we won't hold back. Wait, how is it our enemy can call upon the void?
With the Sin Eater destroyed, the knight it was holding drops to the platform and our friends join us. Our mysterious dark knight rises and curses the light. Reen asks who she is, and in their confusion to answer the question, they pass out. Reen senses something off about her aether, but she isn't a Sin Eater. Thancred, being the supporting father figure he is, takes the knight back to camp so that we can try and speak with her again once she wakes. Back in Eden's core, Urianger makes note that the battle we encountered gave way to rifts through which void scent enter our world. Reen gets Emmett Selk vibes from her. Though Urianger believes her not to be an Ascian, perhaps she's a servant of Zodiark in some way.
Anyway, while we were fighting off the invaders, Ryn made a discovery on how to control Eden. Similar to that of the Flood, the balance in the Empty is attuned to Umbral. This is why the Empty is in a stasis. That said, Eden has the ability to tip the scales back to Astral, giving life and balance to the environment again. To ensure a widespread change, we'd need to revitalize each element back into the world in order. Urianger suggests we spawn manifestations of the primals to do just that, and it would be up to our memories of these primals to give shape to their form, so that we may contain them while the element is absorbed.
So which element should we tackle first? Perhaps water, the source of all life? And if we take Eden to the One Steep Ocean as our summoning ground, we would near guarantee the water element would overpower the battle. Let's hope I don't remember Leviathan any harder than it used to be.
FaZe, what did you do? This is way worse than before.
I was thinking about how I didn't want to deal with two targets like before.
I'm not sure 2 giant heads is better than a head and a tail to fight.
It'll be easy, just don't fall over the edge like you always do.
I'm gonna push you over the edge. After felling the Great Sea Serpent, we rejoin our friends in Eden's core. We have to explain to Ryn how primals in our memories are much different than those we've experienced on the Source. For on the Source, the beast tribes had a religious tie to the primals, whereas our encounters had always been of conflict. Oddities like the two-headed beast are bound to happen again. To see if our plan is working, we head back to camp in the Empty. Except, the Empty isn't so empty anymore. Where once was a barren wasteland, now sits a crystal from which water flows. A sure sign that we're on the right path.
On to the next element. Naturally, that would be Earth, so we can rejuvenate the soil and pave the way for further life. Oh, and while we're thinking about it, how's the night? Thancred assures us that she's fine, just still sleeping. He removed her helmet to see what we're dealing with, and says she appears to be a normal girl, not much older than Reen. Thancred plans to stay with her in case she wakes up while we head out to the mountains east of Norvrun. Our Earth-aspected primal of choice is Titan, Lord of Crags. Hey, that looks pretty close, right? I did good.
I don't know. He looks like a younger, more agile Titan. What are those things by its head?
Look, this whole summoning thing isn't as easy as it looks. You try next time.
After some running around, we lay low the Underdweller. As we return to camp, we find the land healing. Though it is clear now that the changes are only present in the area around the crystal. Perhaps the localized phenomenon is the result of the intersection of etherical curtains. In layman terms, it should spread soon enough.
We've been in the Empty for a while now, and it appears to be taking a toll on Reen, so we decide to head back to the Crystarium for a bit to recover. On our journey back, Reen takes us aside in Amarang. She tells us how when she first sensed the disturbance in the Empty, she was scared of what we'd find. But she knows now that finding Eden was the right move. She also thinks back to the girl that we've been helping recover. Her last words were, "Why am I here? What is happening?" She just wants to talk to her, to learn from her. Every so-called villain has their side of the story, and we'd be remiss to not hear hers out. We just have to wait for her to wake.
Meanwhile, Urianger and Thancred remain in the Empty. Urianger has uncovered information about our sleeping friend, the Oracle of Darkness. After some time to recoup from the Empty, we get word that our sleeping girl is awake. She claims her name is Gaia and is a free citizen of Yulmar, yet, oddly enough, does not remember any of the events pertaining to Eden. As we talk, Gaia and Thancred return to Amarang. They've been asking around in Yulmar, looking for information about who Gaia might have been, but came short on any useful details. Gaia is convinced that the only way to learn more is to stay with us and uncover her locked-away memories.
We sit down with Gaia and tell her of the events on Eden, which she does not recall. She doesn't have much to say herself, other than that she seems to recognize us, but has no idea from where. As she talks with us, though, her memory becomes less hazy. She explains how she feels like there's someone else within her, a voice in her head. The voice tells Gaia to use its power for some sort of magic that allows her to tear open the fabric between realities. The similarities of how Minfilia speaks to Reen are all too obvious. Perhaps this voice inside Gaia's head is what helped her resist Fauthry's influence, and what made her jump into battle when Eden arose. If Urianger is correct, and she is the Oracle of Darkness, then we have to be very careful going forward.
Gaia has had enough idle chit-chat, so we decide to take off for Eden once again. As we chase after her, we find her face to face with a bug. Without much hesitation, she casts a spell on the bug, which appears to have done nothing to it. As the bug charges at Gaia, a clock ticks, causing a delayed magic burst on the creature, destroying it in a single explosion. That seems all too familiar. Gaia claims to have had this power since she was a child, but the spells have always been delayed and only come when the voice in her head asks her to use them. Is it too late to leave her behind? No, Reen won't have it. We shouldn't lock someone up for the threat that they can't control. What good would that do for this plot? We should help them uncover its meaning together. Reen plans to face the dangers that lie ahead in Eden with Gaia at our side. Maybe in doing so we can learn more of Gaia's origin. Hard to argue with that. With a focus party, we head back to the empty.
As Gaia stares out at Eden, she can't help but feel like it's only a matter of time before she learns of who she really is. She wonders if knowing her true self is a good thing. One thing is for certain. Though she may push everyone away, Reen shows her support for Gaia.
Inside Eden, we look to continue our work. Ariane suggests we pick an element as a catalyst, and what better than lightning? Oh boy, that means Ramu. Half man, half beard, and another part half beard for good measure.
You're way worse at this than I was. Why is he half horse?
I may have been briefly thinking about the mounts I need to collect after this.
Ramu is supposed to be an old guy that doesn't move. Something tells me this guy is going to be dashing everywhere.
Yeah, this may be harder than it looks. Easier to kill these things than remake them.
After defeating this centaur of a primal, we return to the crystal outside Eden. It now glows purple, indicating our change has been made, yet the change is subtle. Thancred senses a humidity in the air, much like before it rains, but nothing else is visible. Gaia is not amused by how little our progress has to show for it. Perhaps by enacting the winds of change, we may stir the heavens.
If we're looking to make it rain, we'd need two more elements. Fire, which would evaporate the water into the clouds, and wind, which would move and cool the clouds for the rain to form. Very bored of our science lesson, Gaia suggests that we just draw them both out together. Extremely dangerous, yet holds some merit. The elemental wheel dictates that wind and fire are both astral energies, and from that they share a connection which puts each other in check. Summoning both may help stabilize not only the astral umbral balance, but also keep each from becoming unstable. While we work out the details, Gaia steps away.
Reen is clearly distracted, so we cheer her up to see what's bothering her. She's just surprised at how Gaia seems so distant to her. Reen hardly knows anyone her own age, and she's been nice to Gaia ever since they met. Yet Gaia seems to care not for anyone other than herself. Ariane and Thancred tell her that she should still continue to reach out to Gaia. Persistence is key. In time, Gaia will come around and open up to her, and perhaps together they can help shape a brighter future for the First. Reen decides to go and talk to Gaia. We act totally natural and listen in from a distance. In a moment of courage, Reen asks Gaia to have coffee biscuits with her. Sadly, Gaia immediately turns her down and rants about how she's goth and doesn't do what other people do. She does what she wants. Gaia tells Reen that she's not her friend. Big sad.
Not exactly how we thought it'd go, but here we are. We'll sweep it under the rug for now. We have two primals to focus on. Aboard Eden, we make plans for Ashfall, where we will summon both Garuda and Ifrit. Hey, second time's the charm for me too. They're pretty close to before, I think.
I'm still nervous. We've never had to fight both of them at once before.
We fought Ultima, who ate all of them for breakfast. How hard can this be?
We might want to rethink that.
You worry too much. Back at camp, the crystal glows green and red. Not only that, but it begins to rain in the empty. While we celebrate, Gaia screams out at Eden. Why can't she remember who she is? Suddenly, the voice in her head yells back. It still hungers. It wants Gaia to unleash her full power. Reclaim your memories. Fulfill your destiny. Rings in her head. Reen asks her if she's okay, but Gaia screams at her to get away from her. Touchy.
With nothing left but the element of ice to return to the empty, we head back to Eden. In theory, this would return the empty back to its state before the flood, or at least within a decade or two. As the Oracle of Light, Reen's power can only work so fast. These words seem to bother Gaia as she throws a fit in front of us. So this is the Oracle of Darkness, bringer of misery and chaos? She belittles herself and casts doubt on our willingness to help her.
To clear her head, she goes topside to get some air. We follow her atop Eden to see what she's up to, but we're too late. Gaia begins to remember, and in that moment, the darkness within her shoots out into the air. An icon of darkness appears that draws forth sin-eaters like a moth to flame. We grab Gaia and teleport back inside Eden before the birds can get us. Change of plans, the ice can wait. We have a new boss to kill.
So many of them, but nothing we can't handle.
We play a game of red light, blue light, and stop just in time before being killed. This is no children's game. After we deal with the darkness, we return to our friends inside Eden. During our time away, Gaia has been lost in her thoughts, unconscious. She's trapped inside her own head with no one to talk to, not even the voice of darkness. Ironic how all she ever wanted was peace and quiet, and now that she has it, she just wants someone to talk to. Alone, and without her memories, she willingly slips into the darkness of her mind. She will suffer no more. But Reen won't have it. She calls out to Gaia and reminds her of the coffee biscuits they were supposed to go get. Hearing Reen's voice, Gaia returns to consciousness, and for the first time, she smiles.
Gaia tells us how when the Faerie, the voice in her head, was speaking with her in a dream, a stream of memories rushed through her mind. It's like seeing visions of another life she lived, but through someone else's eyes. Yeah, that sounds totally normal. Gaia assures us we can talk more later, but first we should get back to business. We have yet to release the element of ice into the empty, and should head to the Great Glacier to the north. There we can summon Shiva. However, Ryn has another idea to add. She'd like to be the vessel to Shiva, like Ysael was.
Being still and passive in nature, ice is the element most aligned with light, so Reen would need to get close to the action to draw it out. Thancred is not about to stand by and watch as we beat up Reen. If by harnessing the power of ice, Reen could hope to teach Eden to take care of the empty long after we finish our work. In this way, Reen would free herself from having to stay and control Eden. A leap of faith for sure, but it's faith that got us this far. Faith in our friends, and in our abilities. As we enter the arena of ice, Reen copies the pose Ysael did when calling forth Shiva. In a blast of ice, Shiva is summoned and immediately takes control of Reen. Unable to fight against it, we battle against our friend and foe.
After Ryn inappropriately flashes us a few times and we, of course, look away, we defeat her Shiva form. Or so we thought. In a flash of white, she freezes over and captures us in ice. Unable to move, she begins to expel a huge force of light. From a void gate, Gaia, the Oracle of Darkness, jumps through carrying her hammer. She screams for the release of her friend and begins to chip away at the ice. Once free, we join her in stopping Ryn from releasing her light. Gaia's magic is able to reverse the summoning effect and return Ryn to normal before anything drastic happens.
With everyone safe, Reen and Gaia find comfort in each other's company, talking about how the never-melt ice they found would make a great necklace. Yeah, that's fine. I'm good, thanks for asking. Back at camp, we find a pleasant surprise. Life is returning to the empty. With life slowly returning to the empty in hopes that it'll spread, Reen thinks now is a good time to take a break. And to make things better, Gaia decides to stay with Reen and us. It would seem that ice is thawing around Gaia, too.
After some personal time away from the whole Eden crew, we get word that Ariange would like to see us at the Wandering Stairs in the Crystarium. With Thancred, Ryn, and Gaia here too, Ariange explains how Thancred and himself plan to leave the First. This day was always known to come, but now with the Eden Project in motion, they see this as a great time to leave the project in our hands. Though Ryn is sad to see her friends go, she still has us and Gaia to keep her company. Heartfelt goodbyes are shared as we set off to see our friends back to the Source.
After helping our fellow Scions get back to the Source, we decide to check back in on the First. Ryn and Gaia have been having fun. They enjoyed their coffee biscuit date and made a necklace out of the ice crystal they found. When we find them, they were just about to go check out the empty, which sounds great. We'll join. Gaia drives us out to the campsite, but when we get there, we see regression in the environment. The crystal reflects a shade of yellow, indicating the overwhelming presence of light. This may be from when Reen nearly exploded light energy while impersonating Shiva. A voice rings out in Gaia's head, telling her to restore the darkness to it.
Gaia suggests that due to the overabundance of light in the empty, we should balance it out by similarly defeating summons of darkness. The thing is there isn't exactly a primal of darkness. We need to think of something else. Maybe the Cloud of Darkness from when we encountered her during our exploits at the Crystal Tower? As for the venue, we'll just have Reen hold off the light in the area, and Gaia draw out the darkness. And when we're all done, we can get treats at the festival at the Crystarium. Didn't she used to be more green?
I may have made some adjustments. The last time we fought her, she was mad ugly.
I see.
After killing the Cloud of Darkness, we returned to camp to see if any changes occurred. Nothing out of the ordinary appears to be different at first. But then, the crystal shines the colors of a rainbow. Something has happened, but we're not sure what. Gaia is suspicious. Something is off. She calls out to Eden, saying that someone has been hiding within Eden this whole time. And with that, a dark shadow forms in the air, revealing to us Metron, servant of Zodiark, an Ascian. Apparently, Metron is the voice that was speaking to Gaia all her life, and thanks to us dispelling some of the light in the area, he's almost free of his prison. Metron is Eden, an Ascian turned Sin Eater, and the cause of the flood.
Metron, in typical villain fashion, regales us with his tale. Long ago, the 13th shard was flooded by darkness, left to the void. As with all imbalances, the effect ripples to the other shards. The first felt the greatest effect, being made susceptible to the influence of light. Now losing the first to the void would be of no use to the Ascians, so Metron and the others were sent to prevent the flood of light. Emet-Selch, however, conceived of a plan to trigger the rejoining of the shard by using the very light that was trying to destroy the first. It was Ardbert and his companions that first defeated the Ascians, and in doing so, doomed the first to the light.
While the other Ascian soul would be reborn with a new body, Ardbert had stricken Metron with a blade of purest light. Even an Ascian cannot recover from that. As his soul was twisted into ruin, Metron unleashed the light burgeoning within him, spreading it to every corner of the world. This would come to be known as the Flood. Minfilia would come to stop the flood by ceasing it from spreading, and in doing so, she restored to Metron a sliver of his consciousness, enough to whisper as he lay dormant in the wake of what we now call the Empty. His defeated body is that of Eden. As to not further destroy the balance of Aether and potentially destroy the shard, Emet-Selch never came back for Metron. The only other person that can save him is Gaia. She need only remember her duty. Remember Metron.
As for the here and now, Metron can influence control over Gaia, as seen when she first attacked Eden. He can also project his image outside the ship, which is why we're able to talk. Monologue over. If we wish to find out more, Metron invites us inside Eden's core. Well, we're not going to get anywhere in restoring the empty with an Ascian eating all the dark energy we produce. Reen recalls the words of Thancred and Arianje and is reminded not to rush in and take time to think of a plan. But Gaia doesn't remember who Thancred and Arianje are. This memory thing is starting to become a problem again. We take a second to tell Gaia of Thancred and Arianje in hopes that she'll begin to remember, or at the very least, put her at ease for a while.
After some chit-chat, we set our eyes again on the Ascian problem and head to Eden's core to confront Metron. He offers to show us a glimpse of the past, that we might learn some answers there. He means to conjure the Shadowkeeper, nemesis of Ardbert and his fellow warriors of light. To do so, he needs Gaia, but she is her own self now, or again, however that works, and she will not be used by an Ascian. Jealous that Gaia chose Reen and us over himself, Metron snatches Gaia and teleports her into the shadows. He plans to reveal to her her true identity while we help in defeating the summons of darkness. With that, he teleports us out of Eden. The doggo has a sword, Cat! It has a sword!
You have a sword too. Maybe you can teach this doggo a trick or two. After following in Ardbert's footsteps and defeating the Shadowkeeper, we return to Eden's core. There we find Gaia. She apparently watched the fight and has seen this before, some 100 years ago. Metron enters the core and claims that it was Gaia and himself that created the Shadowkeeper. Metron wishes for Gaia to reclaim her lost identity and erase the worthless memories she's made with us. But these memories are not worthless. Her new life is her own, and she will not part with it.
Mitron is shocked that Gaia still resists, wondering how things would have been different if he too had died with her, had he too been reborn. Alas, when they fought as one against Ardbert, joined in both body and soul, Ardbert tore the bond between them with his final blow. And with a grimace, Mitron knows his next move. Should they be rejoined once more, his memories would unlock Gaia's memories. With a wave of his hand, Mitron reveals an Ascian insignia across Gaia's face. She loses memory of Reen before merging with Mitron and forming Ascian Prime. And they remember, together. Gaia was a reborn Ascian all along, and hers was the seat of Logrith.
We suddenly receive a vision from the Echo of Mitron and Gaia as their previous selves. They served together on the Convocation of the 14. We learn Gaia was previously given the assignment Elidibus would come to take, and Mitron was her protector. The two had an undeniable bond and promised to never separate.
So before us is the culmination of the power held by two members of the Convocation. Seems oddly familiar. Reen just wants her friend back, regardless of if she's an Ascian or not. Ascian Prime won't have it, and shrouds Reen in dark magic. Visions of doubt and fear cloud her mind, similar to when focusing on a target for the summonings we did earlier.
I know this place. It's the jail in Yulmore.
Without much of a choice, we must face off against Reen's agony by defeating the twisted manifestation of her memories. We face off against a version of Thancred and Rangi in the jails of Yulmore.
Back in Eden's Core, we face off to Ascian Prime once more. Our foe cannot comprehend how we overcame our fears while they had succumbed to theirs long ago during the final days. While Ascian Prime is baffled, Gaia whispers to us, "Now's our chance." Memories of Ryn and Gaia fill the room and are shattered in an instant. As a last resort, Ascian Prime fuses with Eden, creating one last final horror to face.
Eden's Promise channels the power of Leviathan, Titan, Ramu, Garuda, Ifrit, and Shiva to become the Avatar, bender of all elements. We must protect Gaia's memories of Reen. It's the only thing preventing us from losing her altogether.
Eden will become a utopia.
I told you it would make a great necklace.
If this goes on much longer, she'll forget everything.
A utopia. A dream.
After defeating Eden, Gaia is returned to us and we are transported back to camp. Gaia is unconscious, but that doesn't stop Reen from reaching out to her. Reen won't give up on her friend.
Gaia is again in her own mind in absolute darkness, except this time Mitron's image appears and Gaia smiles. In his death, he is freed from Eden and able to be reborn. Perhaps one day he'll meet Gaia again. As Mitron fades away, Gaia says farewell to not the Protector, but to her old friend, Artemis.
After a long, long walk, she ends up laying down and looking at her ice crystal necklace. The necklace brings back memories of Reen. With the remembrance of her friend, Reen cuts through Gaia's black hole of a brain with Thancred's gunblade and rescues Gaia from her depression. Gaia wakes up to Reen in the flourished lands of the Empty, now a utopia. With Mitron out of the picture, the aether that Eden had absorbed is released and is able to spread more freely.
While Eden spreads life throughout the Empty, our friends from the settlement at the Crystarium will keep an eye on it. And get this, they claim that the investigators in Yulmore have finally found the true identity of Gaia. But this was another life, so to speak. Gaia doesn't wish to know of her past. She knows of Mitron, that she is an Ascian reborn, and of her friends, and that's enough. To her, the name Gaia symbolizes hope. She is, and will always be Gaia to her friends, and that's enough. And with that, Gaia reminds Ryn of the festivals in the Crystarium, and off they go.
Hey Reen, Gaia, can I come? Don't third wheel me. We were gonna get ice cream.
Ooh, I'd like some sea salt ice cream for me, please.
Looks like they're heading out without us. Let's go get some ice cream on our own at the Wandering Stairs. It's always the Ascians. They're everywhere, like weeds. We're gonna assume all future unknown enemies are secretly Ascians.
It's always Organization 13.
I think there are 14 members of the Convocation, actually.
14 too many.
I want to do something completely different. No Ascians involved. Something with cool, black edgy outfits and swords. Oh, maybe something post-apocalyptic with robots.
Have you heard the latest rumor out of Comra? The dwarves had the strangest find, though actual details as to what the find actually is have yet to emerge. From what I understand, though, the ruins are filled with all kinds of machina.
Sounds like our next adventure is near. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below.
What did you enjoy or not enjoy about the Eden Raid series? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.